Hello, everybody. I hope you're joining us soon on the Zoom or Facebook Live. And as you are coming on, if you have any questions, definitely go for putting those questions in, and I will see if I can see them. And if not, at a minimum on the Facebook page, post your questions. I did get some questions ahead of time, so we'll talk about that as well. So hopefully we'll be able to start this fairly quickly. I'll get started at exactly at 3 o'clock. It's 2:55. I hope everybody is getting a good good afternoon and good weekend, start to the weekend today. And I'm Dr. Jaya Prakash, or Coach Jaya. So hopefully people will be able to join in, and we will see how all of that goes pretty soon. So I'm just going to give another 4 or 5 minutes before we really get into the meat of the things. But what we really are trying to do is we're trying to do this live. I'm also trying it from another angle. So you might see me by 2 different angles and moving my head to address both of the angles as we go along. So I'm Dr. Jaya Prakash, or Coach Jaya, and I'm excited to be talking about diabetes today. So if you can't see me from the main Zoom live streaming, you should be able to see it from the direct Facebook streaming. And I do apologize for the angle. I could not get that fan out of the angle I was trying, but I think it'll be all right. Hopefully it will not be distracting. So again, welcome. And if you have any questions, do post them in the chat. I will be able to see them and I'll address them. And as I said, I did get some. And hopefully we'll be joined by Sherry from Children's Hunger Project. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to join. I know she is busy as well. And we have some exciting things to come up. And hope you've got your coffee, just as I do. I have my coffee as well here. I like cold coffee on hot afternoon. It's very hot in Florida. It is summertime. We actually did have some summer rain in the morning, but it has kind of quietened down now. So anyway, I wanted to just welcome everybody and thank you for joining me today, this Saturday afternoon, for a little chat with me, the author of Diabetes, What's the Big Deal? So let us wait for a couple minutes and see if a couple more people join. I do see a couple who are joined on the Facebook itself. And I'm hoping to have a good turnout. If not, at least we'll record it. And if you could not join live at this event, you will be able to see the recording of this event later on. I will put it to as many platforms as I can, and that will allow you to also review. And again, as I said, I would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas as well. Oh, I do see Sherry is joining us, so that's wonderful. I'll wait for a minute for her to join. Hi. Hi, Sherry. I see you. That's awesome. I can see the Children's Hunger Project, all their work that they're doing at the back, and she's getting all ready with that. And we'll talk about it in a minute. I'm just waiting for a couple minutes for people to join. It's 2:58 Eastern time in the United States on July 18th. And I'm very excited to be here to talk about diabetes as well as what we're doing with the proceeds of the sale of this book. So again, thank you, Sherry, for joining me. I know it was a rather short notice. I was trying to get everything together, and I'm just glad that we connected very early in the morning today so we could do a Zoom call with that. I'm just going to unmute my speakers for a second because otherwise I get an echo, so at least you can say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Sherry. Nice to meet you. I was getting nice that you could join. I was getting an echo in the morning, so that's why I had to shut off the speakers for a minute. But I think right now it seems to be all right.
Good.
So it could have been the function of the thunderstorms in the morning when I was trying to do test runs, so to say. All right, so it's almost 3 o'clock. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Jaya Prakash, or Coach Jaya, as you will see my name, Jaya, over here. Um, just a bit of a background for me, why I wrote the book, and then we will get into the discussion about the book as well as what is happening with the proceeds of the sale of the book as well. So I was trained as a physician in India, practiced in India. My main area of focus was infectious diseases and pathology and all the other many medical subjects. And I practiced in two mega hospitals, one in my alma mater in a city called Pune or BJ Medical College, and then Grant Medical College in Bombay or Mumbai. And then in 93, I came to United States. And then I started teaching again all these medical subjects, the pathology, infectious diseases, public health, and all of these things too. Very bright chiropractic physician students, as well as we had naturopathic medicine, we had botanical medicine, and many others. And I continue to teach that as well. But over the years, I continued to teach pathology, and of course, diabetes was one of the topics, and public health and public health crisis associated with diabetes has been an increasing topic of discussion. But one of the questions that was asked of me to answer today was like, what inspired me or what made me write the book? And this is the book I'm talking about, which is Diabetes, What's the Big Deal in Plain English. All the while, well, whether I was teaching in India or in United States, and I've been teaching for now over 35 years totally, um, one of the things that consistently I heard is that I wish somebody had explained this to me the way you do in plain English, and it would have inspired us to take action ourselves, or would have helped us tell our loved ones to take action sooner than later when it comes to diabetes. And one of the things that they consistently said, we didn't know that diabetes affects so many different organs. And today we will talk a little bit about diabetes and its effect on heart, as well as how you can take action, and how reversing the diabetes and taking care of it makes a huge difference. Another reason why I'm so passionate about this subject is I myself suffered from diabetes. And yes, I did use past tense. I struggled with diabetes for many years. And even though I knew, I tried different approaches and it didn't work. Finally, I found a very scientifically proven approach. And all the while that was happening, I was trying to find solutions. I had put on almost 100 pounds. And I will talk about that, what that did to me as we go along. But it then led to major complications of diabetes, including diabetes nerve pain. And once I found the solution and lost 85 pounds and reversed my diabetes, today, who you are seeing is a very healthy person, a healthy woman. And I reversed all of that. I got off all the medications. I didn't take them. I stopped them. My doctors took them off because I got better and better and better. And that was the other reason I share my story in the book, so that it will inspire the reader, hopefully, to take action and never give up finding answers. And I am, of course, I have my contact information in the book, so you can definitely reach out to me, and I can help anybody anywhere in the United States. So definitely that has become a passion of mine, and that's why I wrote the book, because consistently I heard, I wish I knew, so I would have taken action sooner. And then as I was going publishing the book, um, I came across, I am also vice president of Kiwanis Club of Melbourne, and I want to just put that up there, Kiwanis Club of Melbourne. Kiwanis Club of Melbourne has been serving children of Brevard County for over 95 years. And one of the members of Kiwanis introduced me to Children's Hunger Project. And I'm going to let Sherry just share a little bit about Children's Hunger Project. But from my perspective, they serve the kids of Brevard County throughout the year to make sure that they do not go hungry. So, Sherry, could you just in a couple of sentences tell us a little bit about Children's Hunger Project?
Of course. We started 10 years ago in Brevard County. Four men sat at a table together and realized that there were children who were going hungry on weekends. They were provided meals at school, but they were going hungry on the weekends. And they said, what can we do about this? They decided to start the organization, the Children's Hunger Project, to feed kids on weekends and to keep the cost low, but still make the meals nutritious enough so that when they come to school on Monday mornings, they're ready to, they're fresh and ready to go to work. And it's been in operation now for 10 years. We'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary in December, and we have not missed a single weekend of providing meals to kids during the school year. And during the summer, we work with United Way in their Feed and Read program, where it's, feeding the kids, but also they're getting books and reading books. And this year, of course, things are quite different. But during the normal school year, we were feeding about 2,400 children. We were up to feeding that many. But during the pandemic, the age was raised to 18 for children to receive meals from the schools. So we followed suit, and we're providing anywhere from 5,500 to 6,000 students with meals on Fridays for them to take home at the drive-through, where people were distributing the meals that our volunteers have packed. And all the meals are prepped and packed and distributed by volunteers. So it's a really lean organization with a big heart. And we appreciate you so much for what you have done to support the organization. And we're so glad that Kiwanis made you aware of us.
Yeah.
Because, we benefit when our kids benefit. When our kids are doing good, then we all feel good. So thank you so much.
And thank you. And as an educator, I can definitely tell you that if the children are not, if they're hungry, they cannot learn very well. So that's an important part of it. And you may not perhaps know, but studies have shown that children who went hungry and or were undernourished as children in adulthood can have higher risk of diabetes at a lower BMI and lower body weight, body mass index. So there are some of the studies done in many developing countries, which also have shown that feeding kids properly during childhood has tremendous health benefits throughout. And that's the reason I chose this particular charity. And it also would be interesting for you to note that if children's nutrition is properly looked after, they're less likely to develop even heart disease later on. So it is all the reasons why we should actually support this charity. So how am I supporting this charity and this amazing endeavor? So since I published this book it actually went live in April. So this is the book, The Diabetes, What's the Big Deal? The paperback. For every paperback sold, $5 are, so that's coming out of my royalty, $5 are going to Children's Hunger Project. And I'm so happy to report that so far, and this is just the beginning. I mean, I'm going to continue this right now till September 30th and even beyond if the situation continues. And of course, this is in addition to what I do monthly. But so far, I'm very happy to report that we have got $150 check. This is a ceremonial check, of course. I'll be paying it via electronic means on Monday. But we have so far raised $150 for this particular endeavor. And I'll continue to do that as things come in. So let us do the next check to be 1,500 and not 150. Okay, so let's do it 10 times more. That's my appeal to all my listeners. We can do it. We can definitely help kids get good nutrition. So I hope this will help, Sherry.
Oh my
I know it's a
goodness.
small one to begin with, but that's just the beginning.
Thank you so very much, Jaya.
Okay. Well, I'll go into some of the questions. This is, after all, coffee with me, the author of the book. And as you can see, my coffee is here. It's the iced coffee because it is very hot today outside. And I like iced coffee during the day, whereas in the morning, that hot cup of coffee. So anyway, some of the questions, of course, one of them was what inspired me to write this book. But another very interesting question that came from a friend of mine who knew that I was going to do this Zoom as well as Facebook Live was, and I see Sandy Miller Owens and Dr. Charles Skinner has also joined on Facebook Live. One of the questions that was asked was that why are there so many advertisements on TV about diabetes and heart disease? And why are they so much talking about, yeah, you got your diet and exercise, but what about heart? And what's diabetes? Isn't the diabetes a problem of insulin and too much of glucose in the blood? What has that got to do with the heart? And I do talk about diabetes and heart in this particular book. And while I talk about a lot of what do these numbers mean and so on and so forth, the chapter 7 specifically talks about heart. And another chapter, the following chapter, chapter 8, talks about peripheral artery disease or blood vessel disease. And as you know, heart and blood vessels are very, very intricately connected. Heart pumps into the blood vessels, and blood vessels take nutrients and oxygen all over the body. But let's talk a little bit about heart, and I will just talk about a couple of things about how heart is organized and how it functions and what are the things that can get affected during diabetes. So as you know, heart has got 4 chambers, and blood gets from the body into the heart. It is the right side of the heart, right side, the first chamber it comes to, it's called atrium or right atrium. Then from a valve, through the valve goes into ventricle, and from that right ventricle or that big chamber of the heart, it gets into the lungs for it to get oxygenated. And then lungs return that blood, which is nice and oxygenated now, to the left side of the heart. It comes to the left atrium, again through a system of valves. It goes to the left ventricle. Now, this left ventricle is a big chamber, which is muscular, and it is muscular enough to pump the blood all over the body, right up to the tippy top of your head, to the tippy toes, all the way. It is your left ventricle's job to send it all over. So it needs to be able to have nice, clean arteries for it to make its job easy, right? It isn't easy. It is beating 70 to 80 times a minute, and it is supplying it even against gravity all the way to the top of your head and to your tippy toes when you're sleeping, when you're awake, all the time. Poor heart is working. It's working very, very hard. Okay. So what is this heart made up of? It has a little lining inside, keeps it smooth so blood doesn't stick, it keeps on moving. And then it has a bulk of a muscle. And it's a very special muscle. It is super fast. It can synchronously contract as one thing, the chambers, so that it can push out the blood. And then there are outer coverings of the heart as well. And it is nicely cocooned in your chest in a little sac, and it keeps on beating, and you can feel the heartbeat. And heart, as you know, is a very important organ in the body, and we know we even feel with heart and not just fill the body with with blood, right? But this muscle, the inner lining of the heart and the little bit of muscle next to it can get oxygen from the blood which is in the heart itself. But this muscle is a very unique muscle. There are parts of the heart in the atrium, for example, which will determine the rate and the rhythm of the heart. And then that rhythm gets sent throughout the heart, and then the heart very nicely, like an orchestra, keeps on beautifully contracting. So push out the blood, fill up with the blood, push out the blood, fill up with the blood. It has this beautiful rhythm that goes on, okay? And that rhythm is maintained by our own pacemaker. And that also is part of the muscle. It is not a special separate organ, it's part of the muscle. Now, this muscle gets its own blood, not from what is in the chamber, from the outside, and those blood vessels which go inside the muscle and supply the blood, heart itself, its own muscle, oxygen and nutrients and all that. Those blood vessels are called coronary vessels, and you may have heard of those: coronary bypass, coronary. Those are all blood vessels to the heart. So it's like supply chain to your main warehouse. Okay, it needs to go there, and it can only fill up that when heart is relaxing. If it is contracting, the muscle is squeezing, it can't fill it up. What has all that got to do with diabetes? Well, when you have diabetes, and especially if you also have the visceral or midriff fat, it actually produces chemical signals which tells your body that, oh, there is an intruder, there is alert system, so it starts sending out inflammatory signals. When that happens, your blood vessels start getting inflamed. And it's not like that it hurts, okay? It's like, sometimes you hear that white noise, like that. It's not really bad, but it's there and you know it. But sometimes you can ignore it. So the same thing that is happening throughout your body, you're getting this inflammation because of that excess glucose getting converted into fat, and this fat, especially the midriff fat, or what we call visceral fat, and that is what sends out these signals. When that occurs, now, first of all, many of the peripheral arteries are also not doing so hot. They're kind of contracting and they're not doing well, so now heart has to work harder. So we just increase the load on the heart. Then heart's own blood vessels are also not doing that hot. So when they're not doing that great, heart muscle needs more blood and it is not getting as much blood. So you can see how double whammy this is, which isn't fun. And then also the rhythm or pacemaker, which is there, it's also not getting as much blood as it needs. So you can see little by little, at first body compensates, okay? When body knows like, oh, I'm not supplying blood where it needs to go. Okay, let me see what we got. So this is the way I explain it into the book also. There are many, many analogies like that so that you can understand how it goes, why it is important. So all this is happening even before you are declared diabetic, okay? Your body's compensation mechanisms are kind of keeping you in the dark. But I am busting that secret open for you. I'm letting you know that this takes decades for this to occur, sometimes years, depending upon how bad the obesity has become and how much of inflammation is there. So if you know that there is a lot of inflammation, you can then actually do something about it. You can decrease the assault on the body and decrease that inflammatory signal. Again, it is not something that you feel pain and you need to take medications for that. No, this is occurring very, very, very subtly. You don't even know that it is annoying you, or your body is compensating. So it's like this, suppose you start charging your utilities to your credit card and you never look at that credit card, okay? Your checking account looks really good, right? Because all the utilities are being charged to that credit card. One day it maxes out, and then your utility company calls you. It's like, hey, we can't, or your bank calls you and say, hey, you maxed out the credit card, and say, oh, my utilities were going on the credit card. I didn't know my checking account was looking good, so I thought I had a lot of money in the bank. So the same thing happens with your body. Your body compensates until it reaches that tipping point where then your numbers start showing up, and then it says, oops, you got diabetes. Or maybe you are a little bit more conscious and therefore you are getting your annual checkup and your doctor says you got pre-diabetes. Did you know that 1 in 3 Americans have pre-diabetes and 9 out of 10 don't even know it? So we are getting a lot of warning, we just don't know it. Okay, that's an important thing. So more you know, better you can take action on that, right? And that's what that is about. That's why I wrote the book, because this is just one piece of how heart gets affected, but there are many others. And I'm going to again open up, if there are any questions, please either put them in the chat on the Facebook Live, or if anyone else had joined in the Zoom, ask me questions and I will answer those for you. So this is just like one way. With the blood vessel inflammation, it can affect heart, and this is just one piece of that whole puzzle. So let's see if there are any questions on that that I can answer. Oh, I'm looking for the chat. Uh, okay. Are there any questions from you, Sherry? Otherwise, I can share a few more thoughts as well.
Yes. If you have, if you notice that you have a lot of midriff fat,
Mm-hmm.
What is the best way to start taking care of that? Is it walking? Is it, if somebody has a diet and in other places they look fine, but their midriff is really fat, what is the best way to fix that issue, take care of the problem so you can help your heart from getting damaged?
Great question. So one of the important things is that midriff fat is, your body is designed to hang on to it. And the reason for that is that actually cushions, normally also we have some amount of inside fat, the visceral fat. It provides padding for your kidneys, for your pancreas, for many of the other organs. Okay, but too much of it and creates problem, right? So when you have too much of it, you have to make your body burn that fat. It would rather burn the subcutaneous fat first rather than that midriff fat, right? So if you don't have subcutaneous fat, you just like on the arms and legs, but it is more in the inside. You have to make your body burn that fat by many, many ways. And it doesn't happen when you go on a crash diet, okay? Because body has other compensatory mechanisms. It says, oh, I'm not burning that one, sorry. Or if it burns off, it's like, oh, I'm going to keep it back on again as soon as you get off the diet. So the key to that is to have, and that's why they tell you always to have small meals throughout the day, okay? So you have small, nutritious, balanced meals throughout the day. You also have consistent exercise. So rather than doing 2 hours Saturday and Sunday and being a couch potato for the rest of the week, you need to have movement throughout the day as much as possible. Like, for example, when I talk on the phone with my clients, I'm not sitting down. I am walking back and forth in my office to my living room. I work from home. So back and forth. Or like today in the morning, I knew it was going to rain around 10 o'clock. So I went for my 4-mile walk in the morning. It's like, I'm going to get that done before that. The days when it is pouring down, it is summer rains in Florida is synonymous, right? Or any day when it is raining so much, I make sure I get my walking done throughout the day. I make sure that I'm drinking enough water. This is my third bottle. This is 20-ounce bottle. So this is my third bottle for the day. I drink that. I make sure I sleep well. So it is a comprehensive health management. Why does sleep matter? Sleep actually signals to your brain that you're not under attack. So it, again, signals throughout your body, not just your heart, but it also signals to decrease that inflammatory load. And if you decrease that inflammatory load, that helps your blood vessels, that helps your heart. And it also, sleep also restores your heart rhythm. So, when you are sleeping, your heart slows down a little bit. It has a good chance of getting its own blood supply and really do well for itself, okay? So as you can see, if you're all excited, that's why I always say before going to sleep, you should have a downtime for about 45 minutes to at least half hour. Dim down all the lights, no watching TV in the bedroom. I know we've got these bad habits which actually disturb sleep cycle, and it doesn't give you the restful sleep that you need. That's another very good thing that you can do for your heart. So not only do you having small meals, nutritious meals throughout the day and not exceeding what you are actually spending, in fact, you create a little bit of a deficit. So you start burning off that visceral fat and also decrease the inflammation, which then helps your heart significantly. And all these little pieces, they may seem like little pieces and say, oh, that's common sense. It is the consistency that matters. And it is the consistency of having small meals throughout the day, having anti-inflammatory diet, if you will. If you can have more plant-based diet, it doesn't have to be vegetarian. I am vegetarian, but you don't have to be. But just balanced nutrition and really paying attention to what you're eating and what works with your body, what doesn't. And of course, if you want my coaching, I'll be more than happy to do that. Helps you really get your heart the best chance to keep its function. And this is something that we all need to know. Heart muscle, once it matures as an adult muscle, cannot regenerate. Okay, it cannot make more of itself. You can grow heart even in the lab. I mean, that's what we are trying to do, so we can replace damaged hearts. But really, honestly speaking, right now, you got one heart and take care of it, because that's the one you got. Okay, so it is important to manage your stress, manage your activity, manage your diet very well, and make sure that you attain your healthy weight and maintain it. And that's an important part of it. I maintained that weight loss for now 85 pounds for 4.5 years. And I have so much energy, so much energy. I mean, it's fun. I love it. Yeah, I walked 4 miles in the morning. I did not get tired. I was ready to go. No problem. So all that helps your heart, because when you do more activity, that also helps your heart make more of its own blood vessels, start connecting with each other, so it can actually take care of itself. And that's the whole thing. You know, when you take care of your home very well and protect it from hurricane, even if hurricane occurs, you're protected inside the house and the house is protected. The same thing. You're taking care of your heart. That's your blood home. Okay, so that's what you do. So I hope I answered your question. It needs a comprehensive habits of health management rather than just one thing. But definitely what you take in, how you take in, and whether it is balanced matters to whether you can burn off that visceral fat. And ladies, I'm sorry, you do have a bit of a disadvantage, because ladies' bodies are designed for holding on to fat. Okay, because many of our female hormones come from that fat. And that's why we need to have a little more higher percentage of fat within our body compared to men. But that doesn't mean that we get to have whatever we want. Okay, we do need to make sure that we are taking care of that. So I hope I answered that question. It is a comprehensive management and not just one single thing. But it can be done. Hey, I'm a living example of that. So, and so many of my clients, I can tell you that. So there are so many of them. It can be done. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I have one more question that came again through the chat earlier. And the question was, how do people say that if you have midriff fat, it can lead to atrial fibrillation or heart rate abnormality, where your atrium pacemaker is not behaving itself and it's going all over the place? Two mechanisms in that. Okay, one part of the mechanism is the blood vessel that supplies that particular part of the heart area, which is the pacemaker. Many a times, if it is inflamed or it starts narrowing, then that can create a problem. The other thing that happens is that then they've done these beautiful conduction studies where you will find that the heart is supposed to send electrical signal throughout the heart very nicely like this, you know. Instead of that, it starts developing what are called circus movements or circuitous movements. When that occurs, it can lead to atrial fibrillation as well. And then that can lead to a whole host of other issues as well. And then the rest of the heart has to figure out how to beat on its own. So it gives a job to somebody else and it's not as great, another area in the heart and it's not that great, and then blood doesn't push through very well, so it can form clots in there, and that doesn't happen like next day, but you definitely want to address that also. So atrial fibrillation can occur. Number one is because it may not be receiving its own blood as it should, and two, it can develop these abnormal circuits within that area. Instead of going nice, beautiful electrical current going this way, it starts developing little short circuits within that. So that's why people who have and again, a lot of that has to do with inflammatory signals as well as other signals that come or are set loose from the visceral fat, and as well as liver. So if you read the book, you will see how many organs, when they're affected, they start affecting each other. And that leads to a whole host of other problems. The good news of that is you have time to intervene. None of this happens overnight. It takes time for all these things to start happening. So forewarned is forearmed. I always say that. This is what this book is about. Forewarning you so that you know and you can take action. You can reverse it. Now my diabetes is reversed. My blood vessels are fine. In fact, when they do this whole cardiac panel and all that, the doctors say, the doctors who are new doctors who don't know me, they say, wow, we don't think you don't look, first of all, you don't look almost 60 years of age. I am almost 60 years of age. And two, your heart doesn't look like 60 years of age. It's like, I know. Isn't that wonderful? So that's the coolest part of it. Something can be done, so do it now. And I hope this book inspires you to do that. And as I said, I'll continue the donation part till at least September 30th, or maybe even beyond, as the situations develop. And that's apart from what I do on my own as a person. So I wanted to just share that with you. And thank you for joining me today. It's 3:31, so I'm going to stop here. And please keep your questions coming on the page as well. Feel free to share this video with anyone you think will be benefited from that. And thank you again joining me. Thank you, Sherry, for joining. And on Monday morning, I'll call your office so we can just do like we did the telephone electronic transfer. So I'll do that. This was just a ceremonial check, but you will get actually the money, and I want to keep that going. I want to keep this donation. So please, those of you who want to directly donate, also check up Children's Hunger Project. This is a totally worthwhile charity and initiative that all of us need to support. Okay, and again, on behalf of Kiwanis Club of Melbourne, we are also responding to COVID-19. Children's Hunger Project through me is just one aspect of it. We are supporting other charities as well. So I encourage you to check out Kiwanis Club of Melbourne as well. And this is Coach Jaya saying bye. Have a wonderful weekend. And in a couple of weeks, I'll be doing another one on diabetes and liver. So stay tuned. I hope you get the book in between so you get to read it, and then you can ask me more questions. So have a wonderful day and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.